office of the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. And the letter writing game that's going on between the Honorable Chief Justice's office and the Honorable High Court's office is aimed at passing the buck. I mean, we are seeing a very sorry sequence of events where both these Honorable Chief Justices seem to be telling each other about what they have done or not done. It's very sad. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the High Court Chief Justice is making it amply clear to the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court that he brought this matter to his attention the moment it happened. That the Chief Justice of the Delhi High Court, Justice Upadhyay, brought this matter to the notice of the Chief Justice as soon as it happened. And therefore, the extant reason, the responsibility of action is on the Honorable Chief Justice of the Supreme Court. Who is more to blame here? The Chief Justice of the High Court or the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Nalin Kohli?
So good morning, Anna.
Good morning. Good morning.
First, I'd like to make it clear, as I mentioned to your channel, that I'm sitting here in my capacity as a senior advocate of the Supreme Court.
Yes.
And not in a political capacity in any manner. So that I wanted to make clear.
Yes, louder please. Monitoring louder in the studio.
And I will request you to give me a few minutes.
Yes, please, go on.
Yes, thank you. So I will request you to give me a few minutes because I want to look at it at the entirety. Now, the questions are, of course, will be asked, and the manner in which you are asking, they would be questions of concern. Because what we have here is, and in my recollection, I've never heard of a large stash of cash being found in a judge's house. Now, the judiciary is an extremely important part of the functioning of our country under the Constitution, just as the legislature and, of course, the executive. And in this case, what we know is that there was an incident of fire, as reported by the media. And in the first instance, it seems the fire brigade has got these videos out, which your channel is now showing. And it shows clearly that large sums of cash, burned and not burnt, are in that room. Now, what the report of the Honorable Chief Justice of Delhi High Court, Justice Upadhyay, reveals is that he seems to have sent someone from the High Court, and at that time there was no cash. At least that's what the report says, as recorded in the media. So now this leads to three questions, which is what seems to be the inquiry set up by the Supreme Court, which is relevant and needs to be answered by Justice Varma. Which is the first, how do you explain the presence of cash? The second is, equally pertinent, this presence of cash not only requires an explanation, is there a larger aspect to it? The third is, how do you explain the report saying that later on the cash was removed? Now let's first return to this, and one more aspect. While I've read in the media, Justice Varma is taking the angle of conspiracy, we must not forget that that also needs to be then pointed out logically from his side, which is one, this is a place which is secured by security. So movement of people is restricted, so is movement of goods. The second is, this is a place which is sanitized in terms of the presence of those who live there. So even if it's an outhouse of the main building, that does not remove the fact that the access to the outhouse would be only by people who are either living there or working there. And if you're talking of large sums that require gunny bags, as the media is reporting, to keep it, even more relevant is that who's having access to that room. So this is a big thing. Now it's obviously a blot on the system, because this is unheard of, unacceptable, and very, very disconcerting. Now let's come to the questions that you are asking. The Supreme Court, and we must just look at a little bit of legal history on this, and you'll permit me. The original scheme of the Constitution under Article 124, the appointment of judges was through the government. That changes from the 1980s, and there are three judgments which effectively set up the Collegium system. The 1981 S.P. Gupta case, the 1993, which effectively makes it the Collegium system, and the 1998, which is in the nature of a clarification. So the Collegium system essentially today is the Honorable Chief Justice of India and the two senior most judges for appointment of judges in the High Court, and the Honorable Chief Justice of India and the other four, which makes it a collegium of 5 senior judges, which is for the appointment of Supreme Court judges. Now the Collegium system, one time which came in for a review or a manner or a mechanism that can we change it, was when Narendra Modi ji's government came in 2014, and then there was the attempt, and it was passed in Parliament, was the NJAC, the National Judicial Accountability Act, who had come in, commission. Now this was struck down by a 5-judge bench in 2015. I recall, and of course you may have had several more conversations with many senior people, including Mr. Jaitley, who at that time was very involved in it, and we were very hopeful that there would be some kind of balance that would come, and it would create and remove the questions that are asked with the Collegium system. Equally pertinent, while we ask the tough questions of the Collegium system, and this one of course raises severe questions about how do you bring in accountability and how do you ensure that there is never a repeat of something like this, is that we have to recognize that there are equally important, and I've